I can't do it. I can't do it, Squidward.
What?
Every sentence, every paragraph, spoons, bread, salad, pepper. Don't you understand? My brain is full to bursting. If I have to memorize a single order, I think I'm gonna explode!
Before getting into today's video, I want to thank every single one of you that suggested for me to get into Attack on Titan. It was honestly a phenomenal read, and well, we'll discuss that later on in the video. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to go to the link in the description below to check out some cool merch on some of your favorite animes and mangas. And without further ado, cue the intro. So I've tried to get into Attack on Titan many times now through the anime previous years. Ever since I was like 13, 14, I was trying to get into it. And every single time, I was just like, nah. Now, to be fair, my only anime experience up to that point was like Dragon Ball Z and then later on Naruto. And so I wasn't really big on anime to begin with back then. And so I didn't even have my channel either. So there was just really no incentive for me to get into it. Now we jump forward to 2020. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's a few things I need to get out of the way about Attack on Titan. The first thing is I recognize it's not for everybody. I'm reading this, and early on in the story, I'd say for the first 30 to 40 chapters, it's kind of mid-tier if I'm being completely honest. Now, I know most of you are going to be like, oh, why didn't you just like watch it through the anime? Well, it's just a lot more time saving to read it through the manga. Like, I just got 120 plus chapters done in 8 hours. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be finished with season 1 in that amount of time if I watched it through the anime. But nonetheless, I thought the manga did a pretty good job regardless. Something else I want to get out of the way about Attack on Titan is that there were a few things spoiled for me. So I hit up my homie who had been bothering me for a long time. He was like, yo, you need to get into Attack on Titan. And when I finally told him I had gotten into it and I was reading it, he proceeded to spoil something very important about Eren Yeager's character. And so I did what any normal person would do. I hung up the phone, blocked his number, and kept reading. I'm kidding, of course. I deleted his contact after I blocked the number. But after catching up on Attack on Titan in the course of 8 hours, two things ended up happening. Well, the first thing is that Attack on Titan is in my top 10. Now, I don't know exactly where yet. I kind of have to decide on that. But it is definitely in my top 10. And number 2, my left eye now looks like the 5th variation of the Mangekyo Sharingan. So note to self, don't read anything for 8 hours straight. It's just not good for your eyes. But early on, Attack on Titan's premise seems pretty simple and easy to follow through with. Although at times the events that can occur within Attack on Titan seem a little bit repetitive early on, there's always a constant feel of tension, threat, and danger, which makes the antagonist and the problem of the world in Attack on Titan feel extremely real. Early on, characters like Eren seem a little bit meh, but trust me, it's all a setup. Like, my mind is blown when it comes to Eren as a protagonist. Again, I don't want to get into it, especially the later stuff, but trust me, he gets really, really good. Like, really, really, really good. I felt like I got blindsided by a truck reading him. Armin is a lovable character who ends up kind of also taking this completely different turn. Erwin is an amazing character. Levi is probably my favorite besides Eren. And Mikasa is bae. Like, okay, I'm gonna just say this, get this out of the way. Mikasa, I love her whole subtle yandere vibe. Like, she's like, don't touch my mans, but she isn't flat out, all out, completely crazy. The fight within Attack on Titan is extremely unique, and so I praise it for its creativity with the whole concepts of Titans and how you gotta defeat the Titans. But before I get into kind of trying to word what I just read, I will get one of the criticisms out of the way, and that's the art style of Attack on Titan. Now, me personally, I don't really think it's that bad. Now, it definitely gets better later on, and there are other things that have much better artwork, but I think the raw, sketchy feel to it fits the story, especially early on when you read it later, how the story kind of pieces itself together. I don't know, I just think the art style and the aesthetic of it really fits Attack on Titan. It doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like the rough look it has to it. It fits the vibe. Another criticism of it real quick before I kind of try to explain what ends up happening near the second portion of the manga, halfway and later on, is that early on, like I said, it's kind of just mid-tier. being that other stories definitely have a lot more going for it early. So for example, Hunter x Hunter is another really good example of a story that starts off pretty good, but then really kicks it into full gear halfway and later on. But even with Hunter x Hunter, I think it had a lot more going for it early on, and the thought and potential of the series was kind of limitless in my mind. With Attack on Titan, it kind of feels like, oh, this is just going to be what happens throughout the entire manga. This is the premise. This is what we're going to do. Like, Attack on Titan doesn't necessarily have you thinking, oh, this is about to go crazy. But once you read it all, it's like, oh, it went crazy. And again, that would be my main suggestion for anybody who's thinking of getting into the manga and you're reading it early on and you're confused, kind of like me. I was a little confused. I was like, okay, what's going on here? I'm lost. Where, how, who, help me? Honestly, I think the story of Attack on Titan kind of feels like the setting. It feels like you're kind of trapped in this cage and this is what you're given to work with. But Attack on Titan busts the door clean off that cage. In fact, just obliterates the cage. And this whole world opens up within the Attack on Titan manga. And not really just the world of Attack on Titan and the origins of the Titans, but Eren as a character goes 0 to 100,000. I just wasn't expecting that. Now again, I don't really want to get into specific details and examples because something that was a little annoying to me was when I was looking up some Attack on Titan videos to kind of help me understand what had just happened. For some reason, YouTube just kind of threw it in my face and I just saw all of these titles and thumbnails completely spoiling future events that I had not yet caught up to. Now, what I will say is any character that Attack on Titan does put emphasis on early on does play a part in the story, whether it's long-term or short-term, but they all seem to serve a purpose. They do have a pretty outstanding and lovable cast, although I wouldn't really say, okay, let me correct what I just said. They are outstanding and they stand out as individuals, but I don't really like them all that much. Like, there's a few that I like, and then the rest is like, they can die, I don't really care. But outside of that, Attack on Titan early on is carried by its hype moments, some of its cool fights, but later on, it just feels like all one big setup. Like, I kind of felt lied to, you know? But in a good way. It's kind of like when your parents try to pull that sick, twisted prank on you as a kid where they're like, yeah, I didn't get you anything for Christmas. And you're like, honestly, I know most kids will react like, oh no, but I don't know what was wrong with me as a kid. I was like, oh, okay, you probably had to pay bills. But the point is, it's like when your parents try to tell you they got you nothing for Christmas and then you wake up next morning expecting nothing and then there's the present right there under the tree and you're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Again, I'm trying to put Attack on Titan into words without really spoiling it because it sort of kind of got spoiled for me in like 4 different occasions. Now, hopefully only one of those was something major, but still, no one wants their story spoiled for them. But most of you that asked for this video were just Attack on Titan fans wanting to know if it gets my seal of approval. And it does. Again, at first, I didn't like it. The premise seemed a little wacky to me. I didn't really see the intrigue in the series. But even back then, I would have never said it's absolute garbage. It just didn't catch my eye. Now, it's in my top 10, and I'm going to get a time machine, travel back in time, and punch 15-year-old me in the face. But as always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications. That way you're notified when a new video pops up on some of your favorite anime, manga, or whatever content. As always, this has been The Masked Man. Hope everyone has a blessed rest of the day, and peace.